Hi all, welcome back to Sunshine City Show. Max, your host here. Remember to ring the bell on the right. I may make this a short one because I'm not an expert on the topic. If anything, my relationships are kaput, bang, explosion, you name it. I'm not good at relationships or dating people. When you're in a relationship, you have to humble yourselves, both sides. The man though has to lead, and kind of that's hard if you can't think as a leader what activities to do. Well, therefore the spouse can give you some ideas on that. But humbling yourselves is a tough one. So when you date someone and you're getting towards marriage, you need to know that that person has shared their inner soul, their darkness. And are you going to remove your darkness and expose your darkness to this person? Now, if you expose your darkness to that person and they haven't done it, all they've done is deflected their problems in their life, their relationship with their father, that kind of thing, and they've deflected, then you're in problem there because you've dated someone that is not expressing themselves. Because you need to be in a relationship where you're going to have children, and when you have children, it's going to get a lot harder. So you need someone who wants to spend time with you, for starters. Now, when you date a pretty girl, very hard because that pretty girl's used to a lot of tension and she needs a lot of focus, and you haven't got that connection where she needs you. She just needs to do things, and you can see that leading to a bit of problem later on. Also, if she's complaining about her daddy, that will be complaining about you at a later date. Sorry about that. So, at a later date, it can get very bad because the people that she's complaining about are going to be you. Even if you're not what the father was or never will be, you will be the one that she will complain herself to. And therefore you need her to realise that what she needs to do, rather than complain about her dad, she needs to, what she's feeling, the things that she's done wrong, when she pulled a girl's hair, and went crazy, telling you her heart, telling you the stuff that she's done wrong. If she's going to tell you stories that aren't true, and you find out later they're not true, then you're not really connecting with her, because everything you know is a lie. And so dating a pretty girl is dangerous, and it's really hard today because you're dating someone who has a different upbringing than you. So if you're dating someone in another culture, it's another problem too, because you don't understand their culture, because in the culture you look after the family, right? And that girlfriend's relationship is with her family, and you need her to have a relationship with her family, but you are becoming the family, right? So you have to be the center of attention. One thing that happening with men is that the women don't like the relationship that the men have with each other, but they have to allow their husband, boyfriend to interact with men. That is very vital, very important. If a guy has long hair, that kind of thing, well, he's a full-flaring Christian. His long hair had no bearing on who he was as a person. So your husband should be able to hang out with that person. You get what I'm getting at? Is we we start isolating. When you start isolating a guy from his friends, then you start to control him, and then you start to demand him. So you start to demand him and who he is, because the best thing for your boyfriend, husband, is that he interacts with men, that he still does that, but he puts you first in his life, of course, and that when he talks to you, he humbles himself and he takes it all up. You have to remember, when you have children and kids, that he has to be the leader and he has to lead, and your job is to back him up, and your husband's job is to back up your wife, your spouse, to back her up as much as possible, and you're one with. But what's happening right now is that the females take over and everything, so that when you do wrong and you make a mistake with your children, then the spouse takes over. I'm talking in general here, I'm not just talking about myself. So when we date someone, that is when we can correct this. When we date someone, we want that person to share their dark moments, not to have daddy issues, to realize that her daddy issues are a problem. That's where you need to get to. You need to realize that, because you need to realize as a partner, that's going to be you that she's complaining about soon. Doesn't matter if you don't do those things, that will be you. That's what's going to be you later on. And if you're entertaining your girlfriend all the time and entertaining her, you're not sitting at home, you're not enjoying each other's company for who you are, and she doesn't want to be with you much, I guess at the end of the day, being around each other is important, but not too much of it, because you need to be around your mates as well, because how are you going to be a man's man when you bring up these children? Because you're living in feminism right now. You're living in TV and movies saying that your spouse needs to control you because you're an idiot. Because that's in TV, the guy has to die because he's an idiot. So you have to be careful right now as a woman, you have to be careful that you back him up, that you respect him as a man, that when he makes a mistake, don't discuss it in front of the children, do it later on. So having kids is easy in the beginning because they're young, they can't really, but even at the age of 2 years old, they've worked you out. The children have worked you out. You need to get beyond that. They work out how to break you, bring you divisions. Now, if they're watching TV, they're learning as well. They're learning what they can do against you. And I don't blame the children, but it's TV, it's feminism, it's everything else. So as guys, you need to think, well, I have to really think about marriage, because marriage is a union. I would say the best thing to do is to have a best friend relationship with a girl. Not live together, but just have a best friend. Someone you can spend your dark moments with and everything. And they do the same. And they usually, the best person to date is your best friend. We always date the wrong one. We always date the pretty one or something like that, and it buggers us up. And it goes for women too. I mean, women dating guys for their money and everything else, but I don't think men, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen men abusing women anymore. I see more feminism going on. I see women controlling relationships, that kind of thing. But there are probably, you could say, socially, I don't get out that much. My social interactions are a little bit limited. But I have interacted with a lot of people, but that was through my job. And So I have no idea right now, but I do know it's bad out there, and relationships that I've had are bad. And sometimes you need a man to explain yourself to. You know, you don't want to tell him everything, but it's like, well, my girlfriend's controlling me, and let's discuss it. And I think, well, you know, she has to change. If she isn't going to change, then, you know, you're going to have to leave it. So these movies we're seeing now with these butch women in control, and the man's acting more feminine, and she's the man. That is a problem. That because once you aren't a man anymore, you can't express yourself anymore because you're nothing. And you need a relationship where you can both express yourself. You don't. You shouldn't control each other. You know, and of course, if you're a guy and you don't know what to do, just ask. You know, just do stuff together and say, well, look, I've got no idea what to do right now. You know, there'll be some things you're good at. You know, you can train your kids in sports, that kind of thing. But then that should be your thing that you're doing with your children, and then she should do cooking or those kind of things. Those where she's good at, and let him do his thing. Maybe he's a cook. Maybe he wants to, you know, but, you know, you got to be careful because men aren't being men right now. Men have no. You've got to let the guy interact with his children, play ball with your children, that kind of thing. Go to the park, because I don't see parents doing that anymore. I see parents playing arcade games with their kids, but I don't see them going to the park playing the ball. That kind of thing is really important. You know, getting a bat, cricket, that kind of thing. And you want to get your kids into sport, just be careful, because some of those sports are pretty ruthless, pretty brutal right now. And that's another problem. Anyway, catch you all. Thank you all.